Welcome back to the Docova channel. In this video, we're going to talk about buttons. Let's go. Okay, so in your application, you're always going to be using buttons. Buttons to open up dialogues that have forms in them, or to, provide informational dialogues, or to save a document, or to execute some code of some kind, or whatever. They're an important part of any application, and Docova is no exception. And so we try to make it really easy for you to be able to leverage the power of buttons. So let's have a look again. So even in our interface here, let me just point out, in the top right of our workspace, we have the ability to pin applications and go into your user profile, and then you can save and close. And here there's a button to browse to select the image for your icon, or for your avatar, for example. And then there's things like the Docova About button over here in the top right, which shows you a dialogue that is highly informational. And then there's the Docova plugin, which you can click on here, and it will download the plugin for you that you can install. And then there's the close button here on the dialogue, so you can close it down. In the top left here, there's buttons for copying and for creating applications and so on. So buttons are always used over and over again in applications all the time. Don't need to really say that, right? Okay. Let's go to the element demos as usual, and let's navigate down the form elements to buttons. All right, so here it is here. Again, the one button document. So if I open up this document in read mode, you can see that when I click on any of these, I think they're all just opening the same alert, which just says, oh, this is a button click, all right? And so all I've done is hooked up all these buttons to that little bit of code. But just to say, though, that what you can do with buttons is that you can have it so there's just a label on the button, or a label with an icon. So you can pick an icon. We have thousands of icons that you can pick from that we've gone through before. There is, you can put the icon to the left, put an icon to the right, put an icon on both sides of a label, put just an icon. And so this is just showing an icon and a button by itself, left justified, a right icon only. So it's just the same because there's no label, so it doesn't matter what you choose here, but you can do both. You can have two icons. So, there might be a reason why two icons fit together onto one button to depict something that you need. I don't know. That's all about your creativity. And then here, I'm changing the text of the button to white, and the background of the button to blue, and down below here, orange and black as the text color, right? So just to show you that, it's flexible in terms of what you want to do. The other thing too is you can see up in the top action bar. So we call this the action bar up here, and you'll see action bars on forms and as well in views. So we're in a form right now in read mode. And so it makes sense to see the close button in read mode so that we can close this document. Or if we want to edit this document, we would click the edit button, and it would put this form in edit mode for us. And this action button bar, we can say show these buttons if the document's being read, or only when the document's being edited, for example. And a good example of, so if I click on this, it's just the same dialogue, it's just a button click. But suffice it to say that I have buttons on the form, I can have buttons on a page, and I can put buttons in the action bar up here too. And so I can do the save and close, and the edit and stuff along the top of a form, but I don't have to. I could leave that blank and not put any buttons up there, and I could instead put my save and close button somewhere else in my form if I wanted to, right? So it's all up to you how you want to shape your application. And the hide and show here, so notice I have edit, close in the action bar here. If I click on edit, then it puts my document into edit mode, so now I can edit. There's nothing yet to edit except the subject field. But if I edit the subject field now, you'll notice that I don't have the edit button at the top anymore because I'm hiding it, because you can tell if if the state of your document is in edit or read mode. And therefore, I can hide the edit button because it doesn't make sense to have an edit button when I'm already in edit mode. But instead now I can see the save and close button because it makes sense to see the save because I'm in edit mode. Do I want to save my changes, right? And so it gives you all that kind of flexibility. Okay, let me go into the design of that as usual. So let's open it up in the app builder. And forms, I'm going to say it's going to be called something like F button. There it is. Okay, so in the F button form, you can see that we just have these buttons here. And, you know, as you can imagine, in the properties of a button, you can show the label, so you can give it an ID so that you can target that again from a programming point of view. But here's the label where I've typed in label only, and you'll see that's what's in here. And whether or not to show the label, yes or no, because you could still put some text that is descriptive about this button, so when you're in design mode and stuff, but maybe you don't necessarily want to show that text. And then there's a left and right icon, so let's go to one that has an icon. So you'll see that I've chosen a left icon here, and if I click this button, I have all these icons to choose from, and literally thousands of them. And here's one on both, so I'm just saying my left icon and my right icon, I just picked from the list of icons. As easy as that. And then from a click point of view, and from a styling point of view, you can see here that I can align it left, right, I can bold it, change the colors of the text and stuff like that. I can do more things like padding and borders and stuff if you want. So, of course, as with all form design elements, you can change all the font, border, padding, margins, all that kind of stuff, and add even your own CSS here. And then in the on click, I have a button click. So I have this function called button click, which is a JavaScript function. And if we go to the JavaScript tab, you'll see I have button click right here as my function. And all I did was an alert. This is a form button click. So all I did is connect that up to all of my buttons for this demo. All right. Okay, so let us go back to the layout. And let's go and find the button. It's right here. And so just to show how easy it is to drag and drop a button onto your form. So again, you get that cursor behind, you can see. So see, it's right behind the subject there. And if I roll over, you'll see that if I wanted to put it in between the subject there, I could. Right? So it's very good. So I'm just going to cut it out because I don't want it there. So you can drag and drop, cut and paste buttons right onto your form. Let me drag one up to the action bar. So if I go up here, up to the top, and I drop it, you can see that I have a button in the action bar here. And I can fool around with positioning it up there and stuff like that to how I want it. And so on and so forth. So it's just really easy for you to add action buttons. Oh, and by the way, when you create a new form, if you ever noticed, when I create a new form, we automatically put 3 action buttons at the very top of the form, just because they're used so much, and it's pretty typical for any form. You don't have to keep them, you can delete or whatever. But if I click on the save and close button, you'll see that the type is save and close because custom allows you to run a custom JavaScript function or a custom formula. And so you saw the formula that I hooked up to my buttons, and it was custom. However, if you say edit or save and close, or create a new document, or a Gantt chart save and close, which we'll talk about in a future video as well. These are pre-canned buttons that just put some code in. So if I click on the edit and we go down, you'll see that in the on-click formula that we run some code that gets this document and saves it, right? So this is just an example of writing code. And you can interject if you want, before you edit something, if you want to do something, write some code that does something, that looks up something or whatever, before it goes into edit mode, you can do that. When you close something, you can, so this is the close code. So you can see In this particular case, I say get the UI document called UI doc in the docova class, and I say get UI document, and then I say UI doc.close. And so that's just a little bit of code. There's different ways to do it, but we pre-can these for you, and I could interject here, and so that when I close a button, I could put some other stuff in here, like don't forget to do this, or I could do some validation of some kind, or whatever code I want to put in there, so it's flexible for me to do. All right. So it's pretty straightforward, right? It's just buttons on your form, and you'll use them a lot for a bunch of different things, and it's just really easy to drag and drop them and make them look the way you want, position them where you want, and execute the way you want. Okay, so that's it for this video on buttons. Thanks for coming along. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that like button, and leave a comment, especially a question below, and we'll try to get to them all as fast as we can. And I'll see you in the next one.